She came to kill him. But froze when their eyes met. Jack was awake. Again, for the third night in a row. Something felt ... Off. He lay still on his bed, staring at the blinking red light on the old clock beside him. 3:12 a.m. The air was too quiet. Too heavy. Then he heard it a soft creak. Like someone stepping on the wooden floor near the window. But Jack lived alone. His apartment was locked. No one should be here. And yet, the sound came again. Creak. Jack's heart pounded. Slowly, he reached toward the lamp on the nightstand. His fingers brushed, it then froze. The air changed. It was like the room held its breath. Suddenly, a sharp whisper cut through the silence. Not a word, not a voice. A blade being drawn. Jack turned fast, knocking over the lamp. The bulb shattered. The room went dark. Moonlight spilled through the window. That's when he saw her. A shadow at first. But then she stepped into the light, tall. Slim, dressed in tight, dark armor that shimmered like smoke. Her skin glowed faintly, not human. Eyes like liquid silver, cold and focused. In her right hand, a curved blade, black as space. She didn't blink, she didn't speak. She was here to kill him. Jack stood frozen, shirtless, barefoot, and completely exposed. He raised his hands slowly. I don't know who you are, but please wait. She didn't move. Her blade stayed raised, pointed at his heart. She took one step closer. Then another. Jack backed away, his bare feet sliding against the cold floor. Listen, I haven't done anything. Still, no reply. She lifted the blade. Higher. Jack's breath caught. Then, it happened. She looked into his eyes and froze. Just for a second, but long enough for Jack to notice. Her grip loosened. Her brows twitched, confused, almost ... shaken. Jack didn't understand it, but he saw doubt in her eyes. Her lips parted, as if to speak. But no words came. What are you? Jack whispered. The question hit her harder than expected. She blinked. Her hand dropped. Not all the way, but no longer aiming to kill. Jack slowly lowered his arms. You don't want to do this, do you? Hush. She stepped back, her body trembling. The weapon lowered just an inch more. Then, finally, she spoke. Her voice was soft, sharp, like broken glass. You are not what I expected. Jack narrowed his eyes. Excuse me? I was told you were dangerous, she said, eyes scanning his face. Cold, a threat to the galaxy. Jack almost laughed. Me? I fix satellite panels. I make coffee before work. I'm boring. She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped back this time with purpose. Her head tilted slightly, her eyes filled with something else. Wonder. No one told me you'd look like that, she said quietly. Jack's brow furrowed. Like what? Alive. Suddenly, a small device on her wrist beeped. Red light flashed. Her expression changed. Pain, fear. She pressed something on her wrist. Target is not hostile. Requesting mission abort. The device replied with a harsh, robotic voice. Mission active. Failure to eliminate target will result in termination. Complete the job. Her face went pale. Jack stepped forward. Hey, what does that mean? She shook. Her head panicked. They'll kill me now. I failed. Jack glanced at the blade still in her hand, then dropped the weapon. Stay here. We'll figure this out. She looked at him like he was insane. You don't understand. I was bred for this. Trained since. I could walk. If I don't kill you, they'll send another. Stronger, colder. Jack took another step. Then let me help. Help. She echoed, like the word didn't exist in her world. Double quotes. Yes. If you don't want to hurt me, then don't. That's enough for me. She looked down at the blade. Her hand trembled. Then, slowly, she let it fall. The weapon hit the floor with a soft clang. Jack exhaled. There, that wasn't so hard. She took a shaky breath. My name is Kirathai. But they called me Ghost. Jack offered his hand. I'm Jack. Just Jack. She stared at his hand. No one had ever offered her anything. Not even a name. Only orders. She reached out, and for the first time in her life, someone touched her without fear. But outside the apartment, far above Earth's sky, another assassin had already received the call. Jack's life had just changed, and Kira's was no longer hers. Asterisk. She refused to finish the job. Now they're both targets. Karatha had never failed a mission. She had ended kings, leaders, scientists, enemies of her empire. But now, standing in a human apartment, blade dropped at her feet. She had made the worst choice an assassin could make. She spared the target. Jack, just a human, unarmed, confused. Kind. Kira didn't understand it. She didn't understand him. His voice was soft, but firm. His eyes steady. Not afraid, not proud. Just real, no lies, no mask. And for a reason she couldn't explain. She couldn't kill him. But now the price was coming. Jack sat beside her on the floor, handing her a bottle of water. She stared at it. You drink it, he said. She blinked. What's in it? Just water. She sniffed it like a wild animal. Then, slowly, took a sip. Her body relaxed slightly. So, Jack said. What happens now? Kira's eyes went cold again. They'll send another. Jack raised an eyebrow. Another assassin. She nodded. Someone like me. Or worse. He leaned back. Well, that's not great. Kira stood up, walking toward the window. Her movements were sharp, almost too quiet. They don't tolerate failure. If I didn't kill you, they'll remove me. Replace me. Jack followed her eyes to the stars above. Why me? Why send someone like you for just me? Kira didn't answer at first. Then she spoke. You were flagged by the deep signal. Jack frowned. The what? It's a sensor. Buried. Deep under Earth's crust. You triggered it last week. I didn't even leave my neighborhood last week, Jack said. I just went to work and watched movies. Still, Kira said. It read you. It marked you. Jack's eyes narrowed. What does it read for? Kira turned to him, serious. Potential for what? To change everything. Suddenly, her wrist device buzzed. Red light. A sharp beep, then a calm, cruel voice echoed from the speaker. Ghost has failed. Activating Protocol Black. Elimination begins in 3 units. Kira's face drained of color. They're coming. Jack stood up. Who's coming? Drones, trackers, killers, she said quickly. They'll wipe this building. Burn it down if they have to. Jack grabbed his jacket. Then we're getting out. Kira hesitated. You don't have to run. I'm the failure. They want me now. Jack looked her in the eye. You didn't kill me. That means something. I'm not leaving you behind. Kira stared for a moment, then nodded. Double quotes come. We must move now. They ran through back alleys, past locked shops and old neon lights flickering in the night. Above them, a soft humming sound started. Low at first. Then louder. Kira stopped and pulled Jack into the shadow of a dumpster. Stay still. A black orb, smooth and silent, floated above the street. A red beam scanned the area. It stopped, turned, pointed down. Beep. Move. Kira shouted Jack. and Kira sprinted as the orb fired a bolt of red plasma into the wall beside them, blowing a hole straight through the bricks. They dove through a service door, slammed it shut, and kept moving. Jack gasped for breath. "They're really trying to kill us," Kira replied coldly. "They won't stop until one of us is dead." Jack glanced at her. "Or both of us." Kira didn't answer. They reached a small abandoned train tunnel beneath the city. Cold, damp, smelling like metal and mold. Kira pressed a panel on the wall. Hidden tech hummed alive. A narrow door opened. Inside, a dark, cramped hideout. A few supplies, a single chair, a monitor. Jack looked around. "You've been here before." Kira nodded. "I used this for another job. Before you." He sat down, out of breath. "How many have you?" She didn't let him finish. "Enough." Silence fell. Jack stared at her. She stared at the floor. Finally, he asked, "Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you kill me?" Kira didn't speak right away. Then, softly, "Because when I looked at you, I saw something." "What?" She looked up. "You were real, honest. No mask, no lies." Jack blinked. "That's it?" Kira shook her head. It was enough. Outside, the humming began again, but this time it was louder. Multiple orbs. More than before. Jack moved to the door. "They found us again." Kira stood. "Yes, but this time, they won't just send drones." Jack swallowed. "What then?" Kira said 2 words. "Another assassin." Up in the dark sky above Earth, a ship uncloaked, larger, sleeker, deadly dot inside. A figure stood at the command deck, not like Kira, bigger, stronger, no emotion. No doubt her name was Whisper, and she had never failed. Not once. And now, her next target was Kira, and the human who made her weak. The hunter becomes the hunted. Darkness wrapped the old tunnel like a blanket. Jack paced back and forth. His boots scraped against the dusty ground. Kira sat still, cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, listening. Far above them, machines moved. Quiet, cold. Searching. Jack broke the silence. "How long before they find this place?" Kira opened one eye. "Not long." He looked at her. "And this new assassin? Whisper, you said." Kira nodded. "Yes. She's not like me." "How so?" "She's better." Above the surface, clouds split open as the alien ship drifted lower. Not fast, not loud. Smooth like falling snow. Whisper stepped down the ramp, quiet as a shadow. She didn't speak, didn't blink. Her armor was deep gray with no markings. Her hair was white like bone. She moved through the city like a ghost. One drone floated beside her. It showed her a blurry image of Jack, then another image. Kira. She stared at Kira's face longer, then spoke one word: traitor. Back in the hideout, Jack stared at the screen Kira had powered on. It showed a flickering map of the city. Dots of red drones. One dot was moving toward them fast. Jack tapped the screen. "That one's coming straight for us." Kira stood. "That's not a drone." Jack blinked. "Then what is it?" She looked at him. It's her. Whisper stood above the tunnel entrance. Her boots crunched on broken stone. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She didn't need maps. She didn't need orders. She could smell Kira's hesitation, her weakness, her failure. She walked forward. Step by step, Jack and Kira ran. No time to pack. They sprinted through the tunnels, turning left, then right. Jack struggled to keep up. "How does she know where we are?" "She always knows," Kira said through clenched teeth. Jack heard something behind them. Soft steps. Not fast, but getting closer. Kira stopped suddenly and pushed him behind a pile of rubble. "Hide. Jack whispered. What about you? I'll stop her. Jack grabbed her arm. You said she was better. Kira looked at him. I didn't say I'd win. Then she stepped out. Whisper entered the tunnel. She saw Kira standing. In the middle of the path, blade ready. Whisper didn't even reach for her weapon. She simply stopped and stared. I expected more of you. Whisper said, voice like cold wind. I'm not your puppet anymore, Kira replied. Whisper tilted her head. Because of the human. Kira didn't speak. Whisper took a step closer. You broke your code. You touched him. You let him live. Kira raised her blade, and I'd do it again. Whisper moved fast. Her arm shot forward, fingers like steel. Kira blocked, barely. The impact knocked her back. They clashed. Blades moved like light. Sparks flew as metal met metal. Jack watched. From behind the rocks, heart racing. He wanted to help, but what could he do? Whisper grabbed Kira by the neck and slammed her against the wall. You forgot who made you, Whisper growled. Kira gasped. I didn't forget. I just stopped listening. With sudden strength, Kira kneed Whisper in the stomach and rolled away. She turned to Jack. Run. Jack hesitated. Whisper turned to Wand, saw him. Their eyes met unlike Kira. Whisper felt nothing. She threw a small black orb at him. Jack ducked just in time. The orb exploded behind him, blasting rock and fire down the tunnel. Kira leaped between them, blade spinning. She slashed Whisper across the cheek. A thin line of blue blood dripped down. Whisper touched it. Looked at her fingers, then smiled. You always were slower than me, she said. Kira breathed hard. Maybe, but I have something you never will. Whisper stepped forward. What? Kira glanced back at Jack. A reason to fight. Whisper. Attacked again faster this time, but Kira was ready. She didn't aim to win. She aimed to stall. Go, Kira shouted. Jack ran sprinting through the tunnel as more explosions rocked behind him. Above ground, Jack burst out of a maintenance hatch and fell into the wet alley. He rolled to his feet, panting. He didn't know where to go, but he knew he had to move. Suddenly, a hand grabbed him. Jack spun, ready to punch, but it wasn't an enemy. It was a woman in a dark coat, human, short hair. A long scar on her face. You're Jack. She asked. He blinked. Who are you, friend? She said. Kira told me to find you. He stared. How? She sent a signal. Short-range burst. I caught it. Where is she? She's buying us time. Jack looked back at the hatch. Smoke drifted up into the night. I'm not leaving her, he said. The woman gave a small smile. Then we better move fast. Deep in the tunnels, Kira's body was bleeding. Her blade was broken. Her strength fading. Whisper stood over her. You're done, she said. Kira coughed. You always were too sure of yourself. Whisper raised her hand for the final strike. Kira smiled. A light flashed behind them. Bright and blue dot. Boom. The tunnel shook as a delayed trap Kira had planted exploded. Whisper flew backward. Dust filled the air. Kira, broken and weak, crawled into a side pipe, narrow, small. Barely big enough, but enough to escape. Just barely. Jack didn't know if she was alive. He didn't know where. Whisper had gone, but one thing was clear. They were no longer hiding, they were fighting back. Asterisk, a hidden past revealed. Kira drifted in and out of sleep. Her body ached. Her side burned from a deep cut. Her arm barely moved. But pain didn't scare her. She had trained to ignore it. What haunted her now was something else. She had seen fear in Whisper's eyes. Just for a moment when the explosion went off. Whisper never feared anything. Why now? Miles away, In an old underground safe house, Jack sat on a cracked sofa. His clothes were dirty, soaked in sweat and dust. Across from him sat the woman who pulled him from the alley earlier. She hadn't told him her name. She just said, "Call me Raven." Raven poured water into 2 cups. Jack drank, still thinking. "Of Kira, she's alive," Raven said suddenly. Jack looked up. "You sure? She wouldn't send the signal if she wasn't?" Jack's hands shook. "I should have stayed with her." "You would have died," Raven replied calmly. "And that would have made her death meaningless." Jack frowned. "She wouldn't die for me." Raven looked straight into his eyes. "She already chose to." A quiet beep came from a nearby terminal. Raven walked over, typed in a code, and opened a metal drawer hidden in the wall. She pulled out a glowing cube, placed it in front of Jack. "What's that?" "A data key," she said. "Something Kira left behind. She wanted you to see it." Jack took a breath, then touched it. The cube lit up, projecting a blue hologram. An old file loaded. A date, 22 years ago. The image showed a forest, broken trees, smoke in the air. A crash site, metal twisted around rocks. Strange lights blinking. Weakly under it, the Centera broken pod. Inside it, a baby, small, pale, wrapped in silver cloth, crying. Jack's eyes went wide. That's me." Raven nodded. "You weren't born on Earth, Jack." The file continued. A team of human scientists approached the pod. They were shocked, but took the baby. One scientist whispered, "He's part human, but his DNA part of it is alien." Jack stepped back. "That's impossible." "No," Raven said softly. "It's your truth." The file ended. Jack sat down again, staring at the floor. "So all this time, I wasn't really human." "You were raised human," Raven said. "That's what matters." "But that's why the signal detected me," Jack muttered. "That's why they sent Kira." "Yes," Raven agreed. "But that's not all." Jack looked up. "What else?" Raven hesitated. Then said, "There's more than one reason your DNA is dangerous." Jack stood. "Tell me." Raven pulled out a second cube. "Your blood isn't just part alien. It carries something they call the seed code." Jack frowned. "What's that?" "A genetic pattern," Raven said. "It was lost long ago. Said to be the key to awakening parts of alien tech no one could use." Jack blinked. "So I'm a key?" Raven nodded. "To tech. To weapons. To control. That's why they want you." Jack's heart pounded. "And that's why Kira stopped. She saw it. She felt something." "Something real," Raven said. "Not programming, not duty. Just you." Suddenly, the door burst open. Jack jumped up. A figure entered, limping, covered in dirt and smoke. It was Kira. She looked exhausted, barely standing. Jack rushed over. "You're okay?" She didn't speak, just fell into his arms. He held her carefully, not caring about the blood or dirt, just that she was alive. Raven helped her sit. Kira winced. I slowed her down. "You did more than that," Jack said softly. "I saw it," Kira whispered. In her eyes, fear. Raven's brow lifted. Whisper was afraid. Kira nodded. "When I triggered the trap, she knew. I'm not like her anymore." Jack grabbed her hand. "No, you're not." Kira turned to him. "You're not what I thought either." Jack smiled. "Seems like I'm full of surprises." Later that night, as Kira slept in the corner, wrapped in blankets, Raven sat with Jack by the old terminal. Jack whispered, "Do you think, Whisper, we'll stop?" "No," Raven said, but she changed tactics. Jack leaned forward. "So what now?" Raven looked him dead in the eye. "Now we take the fight to them." Jack paused. "We You're not alone, Jack, Raven said. Others are waking up. Others who don't want to be weapons anymore. Jack glanced over at Kira. She risked everything for me, he said. I'm not running anymore. Raven smiled. Good, because running time is over. Far above Earth, aboard a massive silent ship, Whisper sat in a dark chamber. She stared. At her reflection, a thin scar still marked her cheek. She touched it slowly, then spoke. Send message to Central Command. I want access to Project Ember. A voice replied, that project is sealed. Too unstable. Whisper said, not anymore. We need it. Why? Whisper turned her silver eyes toward the stars. Because the hybrid boy isn't just dangerous. He's awakening. The alien empire strikes back. The sky over Earth changed at first. It was just a shimmer, a ripple like heat waves in the air. Then came the hum, deep, steady, unnatural. People on the streets looked up. Clouds spun into circles. A shape began to form above the city. Not a ship, a fortress. Jack stood on the rooftop of the safe house, watching it appear next to him. Kira and Raven stared in silence. It's not cloaked anymore, Kira said. No, Raven replied. Don't care about hiding now. They're making a statement, Jack muttered. They want everyone to see what's coming. From inside the alien fortress, Whisper watched the Earth with cold eyes. Her request for Project Ember had been approved. But the cost. Everything. She stood alone in a chamber full of strange machines. In the center, a pod. Tall, black, covered in wires. Inside, something floated. Not a weapon, not a drone. A being. Its skin glowed faint red. Its body was thin, twisted. Its face was hidden by a mask sealed to its head. This was no soldier. This was Ember, a failed creation. Locked away for years, too dangerous, too unstable. But now, Whisper needed him. She pressed her hand to the control panel. The pod hissed open. Back on Earth, Jack and Kira prepared to move. The safe house was no longer safe. Raven handed Jack a small device. Take this, it'll help. Scramble their scans. Jack clipped it to his belt. He looked at Kira. Her wounds were healing slowly. She still winced when she moved, but her eyes burned with purpose. Where are we going? Kia answered. To the edge of the impact zone. Jack frowned. Impact zone. Raven explained, the place where your pod crashed 22 years ago. Jack blinked. The one from the file. Yes, Kira said. There's more buried there. They left something behind. The journey was long. They took old tunnels, crossed rivers, avoided scanner patrols. By the third day, Jack's legs ached. His clothes smelled like rust. And he hadn't slept much. But he didn't stop. Neither did Kira. Each night they talked about her life alone. Trained in silence, told what to feel and what not to. About his life, ordinary, quiet, yet suddenly tied to secrets and war. They were different. But something between them was real. Jack didn't fully understand it. Kira didn't try to name it, but it was there. On the fourth day, they reached the crash site. It was quiet, overgrown, covered in moss and vines. But the trees were strange, bent toward the center as if pulled by energy long ago. Kira stepped carefully over a twisted piece of metal. This was your ship. Jack looked around. I don't remember any of it. You were a baby, she said softly. But your body remembers. Jack paused. What do you mean? She pointed to a black stone buried under roots. Touch. That? He stepped forward, laid his hand on it. The moment his skin met the surface, everything changed. A pulse of light shot up from the ground. Kira jumped back. Jack gasped as symbols appeared across the stone, glowing blue. A low sound echoed like A voice humming from beneath the earth. Then came a flash. A memory not his own rushed into his mind. A war? Burning stars, a dying voice whispering, "Hide him, Earth, the seed must live." Jack staggered back, eyes wide. I saw something. Kira helped him up. "What did you see?" He looked at her, shaken. "They didn't just send me here, they were hiding me." Kira's eyes narrowed. "From what?" Jack didn't answer. Because high above, something answered for him. The sky roared. A fireball fell from the heavens straight down toward them. Kira shoved Jack aside just as it struck the ground nearby. The earth exploded. Trees burst into flames. A shockwave knocked them both off their feet. From the fire, Ember walked out, his mask hissing, his hands glowing red. He didn't speak. He didn't pause. He just raised his arm, and the earth cracked. Jack coughed. Blood on his lip. What is that thing?" Kira grabbed his arm. "Run." They dodged falling trees, leaped over burning ground. Ember followed, slow but unstoppable. Kira turned meet run. Through a blade. It bounced off his armor like it hit air. He raised. His hand fired a beam of heat. It missed Jack by inches, melting a boulder behind him. They dove into a hidden cave near the crash site. The heat followed, but the walls held barely inside. Jack gasped for air. "He's not just an assassin." "No," Kira said. "He's a weapon. Why send him?" Jack asked. Kira's voice trembled. "Because they're scared." Jack stared at her. "Of me? Yes," she said. "And what you might become." Above them, Ember stood at the cave mouth. But he didn't enter. He just stood still. Then he spoke. Only one word. Not loud, but clear. "Awaken." Asterisk Jack's choice run. Fight. Or death. The cave trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling. The words still echoed in the air like a silent command. "Awaken." Jack's chest burned. Not from fire. Not from fear, but from something inside. Something stirring. Kira knelt beside him, gripping his arm. Her breathing was fast. Her eyes searched his. "Jack, what did he mean?" "I don't know," Jack whispered, even though part of him did. Somewhere deep inside, he felt it. The way the stone reacted to his hand. The voice in the memory. The way. Ember looked straight at him, not with hate but recognition. "I think," Jack said slowly, "I'm more than a key. I'm a lock, too." Outside, Ember stood still. He could have entered the cave. He could have destroyed it with one blast. But he didn't. He waited, patient, confident, because he knew what was happening. He'd been created for one reason, to find the seed, and now the seed was waking up. Jack's hands shook. The veins in his arms glowed faint blue. Kira pulled back slightly. "Your body? It's changing." Jack clenched his fists. "I can feel something building." "Is it pain?" "No," he said. "It's power." Kira stood and looked toward the cave's exit. "You can't face Ember like this. Not yet. We can't run forever," Jack replied. "I know," Kira said. "But fighting him now is suicide." A silence passed between them. Then Jack said, "What if I don't run? Or fight?" Kira turned. "What does that mean?" Jack looked her in the eye. "What if I talk to him?" Kira stepped forward fast. "No, Jack, listen to me. He's not like me. He doesn't feel. He doesn't question. He only obeys." "But he didn't attack right away," Jack argued. "He said one word. That's it." "That was an attack," Kira snapped. "He's trying to awaken your alien side. Fully to burn away your human mind." Jack froze. "Then, if I give in, you won't be you anymore," Kira said, her voice tight. "You'll become what they want. A weapon. Jack sat down, holding his head. His thoughts were spinning. He could feel heat in his bones. Sparks in his blood. Like something old was rising. Something not human. He looked at Kira again. "I need to know," he said. "Know what?" "Who I am." "All of it." Kira sat beside him. "Then let's figure it out together. But not here. Not now." Jack hesitated. Then slowly nodded. They moved deeper into the cave, trying to find another exit. Away from Ember's gaze. But far above, Whisper watched from her ship. Her eyes locked on Ember's location. "Has he activated yet?" she asked the AI. "Negative," it replied. "Seed shows resistance." Whisper narrowed her eyes. The human is stronger than expected. She leaned back in her seat. "It doesn't matter if he resists. We'll rip the code from his bones." Inside the cave, Jack and Kira found a strange chamber. It wasn't natural. The walls were smooth metal. Symbols glowed faintly on the floor. Jack touched one, and a panel opened. A hologram lit up, showing a tall figure in robes. Alien, regal. The message began. "If you are seeing this, the seed lives." Jack stared. "This is your heritage. You are not one species. You are two. A child of two stars." The image shifted, showing a planet destroyed by war. "Long ago, we hid you to save both bloodlines. To end the war that destroyed our people," Kira whispered. "They hid you. To stop a war," the hologram continued. "Your body will grow. Your mind will fight. But only your heart can choose the path." The image flickered, then faded. Jack stepped back. His thoughts were spinning. "I was made to end a war." He whispered. Kira took his hand. "But the war is still going." Jack looked at her. "What if I'm the reason it starts again?" "You're not," she said firmly. "You're the reason I changed." He stared at her. She was right. She had been trained to kill. Cold, fast, no mercy. But now she cared. Now she protected. Because of him, suddenly, a section of the cave wall began to shake. Stone-cracked light poured through. Ember was breaking in. Kira raised her broken blade. "We have to move." But Jack didn't run. He stepped forward. The glow in his veins grew stronger. "Jack, no." Kira shouted. "I'm not afraid anymore," he said calmly. "If he wants me, he can face me. Not the boy I was. The man I've become." The wall exploded. Ember entered slow, Tom glowing like fire. He raised his hand. So did Jack. There, energy collided blue against red. A shockwave burst through the chamber. Rocks shattered. Kira fell to the floor. Dust swirled, but Jack was still standing. Ember looked at him this time, not as prey, but as a rival. Jack took a deep breath and said, "I choose who I become, not you, not them." Ember's mask hissed. For the first time, he stepped back. Asterisk. One word changed everything. Again the chamber was filled with smoke. Ash floated in the air like gray snow. One side glowed red Denver. The other side shimmered blue Jack. Their hands were still raised. Their powers locked in a silent battle. Neither moved, but something was different now. Ember's head tilted slightly. His mask clicked. Jack's light was growing. Not out of rage, not from programming, but from something Ember had never seen before. Kira crawled to her feet. Coughing from dust, she stared at Jack. He wasn't glowing from the outside anymore. It was coming from within. His veins pulsed with light. His eyes glowed. Not alien, not human. Both she had seen power before, in others, in herself. But this was choice, turned into strength. Jack wasn't a weapon. He was something the Empire never planned for. He was free. Ember took a step back. The chamber floor cracked. Beneath his feet, he looked at Jack again, and for the first time, his red glow dimmed. Jack's voice rang out, steady, loud. I'm not your experiment. I'm not your key. I'm not your weapon. He dropped his hand. The blue light didn't disappear. It folded back into him like waves calming after a storm. Ember didn't attack. He just stood still. Then Jack said one word, not loud, not angry, just honest. Stop. Something flickered in Ember's mask. A pause. Then a soft hiss as the faceplate opened. Kira gasped behind the mask. Was a boy, young, no older than Jack. His skin pale, his glowing red but also tired. So tired, he looked straight at Jack. No one ever told me to stop, he said quietly. Jack's voice softened. You don't have to be this. I don't know how to be anything else. You can learn. For a moment, everything was still. Then Ember dropped to one knee. His red glow faded into orange. Then soft white. The war inside him ended. Above them, high in orbit. Whisper slammed her fist into the ship's console. Abort mission, the AI said. She stood, trembling with fury. Prepare the planet breaker, she ordered. The AI hesitated. That will destroy the target and half the sector. I don't care. Whisper shouted she had lost too much. Kira, the seed, now Ember. If she couldn't control them, she'd destroy them. Back in the cave, Raven's voice cracked through Jack's comm. Jack, emergency signal detected. A planet breaker is charging. Up, you have 90 seconds. Jack turned to Kira. What do we do? Kira's face went pale. We stop it before it fires. Or we all die. Jack looked at Ember. I need you, Jack said. Ember looked at him, confused. Why? Jack smiled. Because I believe in second chances. In seconds, Ember, Jack, and Kira launched out of the cave in a stolen scout pod. Ember piloted. Jack had no idea what half the buttons meant. But Ember moved like he was born in space. The fortress above Earth loomed closer. Raven's voice crackled again. 50 seconds. Ember's hands danced over controls. We can disable the core, but someone has to get inside manually. Jack unbuckled. Then I'm going in. Kira grabbed his arm. You won't survive the heat. Jack looked at her. You taught me to be more than just afraid. He leaned close, pressed his forehead to hers. Thank you for not killing me. Kira blinked fast. You're welcome for the weirdest first date in history. They smiled. Then Jack ran toward the drop hatch. Inside the fortress. Alarms rang. Jack dropped into the launch tube, fire and sparks bursting around him. He reached the reactor core. A massive glowing sphere pulsed like a beating heart. His chest ached again, but not from pain. From purpose. He placed his glowing hand on the main control node and whispered, I choose peace. The core trembled. The light turned from red to blue. The countdown stopped. Up on the bridge, Whisper's screen went dark. Her mouth fell open. No, she whispered. Then a second voice behind her said, no more. She turned and stood at the door. His red eyes calm. Jack and Kira behind him. Whisper reached for her weapon. Kira was faster. A stun bolt hit Whisper. Square in the chest, she collapsed. The war was over. Weeks later, Earth's skies were clear. The alien empire withdrew. The program that created assassins was shut down. Jack stood beside Kira on a high hill, watching the sun set. She leaned her head on his shoulder. You changed everything. She said softly, I didn't do it alone, Jack replied. You still glow sometimes, she teased. He smiled. So do you. She touched his hand. What happens next? Jack looked at the stars. We find others like me, like Ember, like you, and we give them what we never had. Kira smiled. A choice. Jack nodded. A home. As stars blinked above them, one thing was certain. This story began with death, but it ended with a single word that rewrote everything. Stop, and, in that silence, hope was born.